right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is story time.
Should I do some music?
Once upon a time, there was a magical land of streaming. In that magical land, there were three majestic kingdoms: the kingdom of Netflix, the kingdom of Paramount, and the kingdom of Warner Brothers. Each had a grand king, and each king had a loyal advisor known as a vizier. As we went over to the kingdom of Netflix, there was great King Ted Sarandos, who had not one, but two viziers: Vizier Cindy Holland and Vizier Bella Bajaria. Vizier Cindy Holland was responsible for bringing delightful entertainment to the people of Netflix, with shows like Stranger Things, House of Cards, The Crown, Orange is the New Black, Narcos, BoJack Horseman, Ozark, When They See Us, Mindhunter, and The Queen's Gambit.
That's a hell of a list.
She was a favored vizier of King Ted. But then he also had Vizier Bella Bajaria, who gave the people other entertainment, such as Squid Game, Bridgerton, Wednesday, Money Heist, Lupin, Love is Blind, The Witcher, Cobra Kai, Dahmer, and Formula One Drive to Survive.
I like that, Bella.
Indeed, he had two loyal viziers. But one day, King Ted said to himself, "This is too complex for the people of Netflix. They need one vizier." So he sat down with Vizier Cindy Holland and said, "You suck!" and kicked her out of the kingdom.
How dare he?
And away she went. So she went to the kingdom of Paramount, where she became the loyal vizier to King Ellison.
Those are the horseshoes.
And Ellison and the people of Paramount were filled with joy that they finally had a vizier, bringing with her all the experience of the great entertainment she had provided the folks of Netflix. Well, also, there was another kingdom. There was the kingdom of Warner Brothers, led by King Axe Zaslav. And he had the most revered vizier in all of the land, Vizier Bloys. Casey Bloys loved his king, and they delivered great entertainment to the people. For instance, Vizier Bloys delivered shows like Succession, The White Lotus, The Last of Us, House of the Dragon, Chernobyl, Watchmen, Euphoria, Barry, Mayor of Easttown, and many award-winning shows like Hacks. And that was the state of the kingdom. But then one day, it was announced to the people in the land that the kingdom of Paramount would be absorbing the kingdom of Warner Brothers to protect its people and make them one kingdom.
No.
Oh, King Ellison was very pleased. But one of the reasons King Ellison was so happy was that he would get a second vizier. Vizier Casey Bloys of Warner Brothers would now become one of his viziers. Huzzah!
Yay!
And there was joy amongst the kingdoms.
Was there?
But then, scandal erupted in the land, as it became known that several peasants and villagers spotted King Ted of Netflix and Vizier Bloys of Warner Brothers meeting together and supping in a brothel called the Skanky Bum. Yes, that's right. King Ted and Vizier Bloys were seen chatting together in the Skanky Bum.
Is that true?
Yes, all factual.
And oh, the conspiracy. People thought, is this betrayal? Before Vizier Bloys even joins with King Ellison, he's already betraying him. And so the kingdom was left in great confusion about where Vizier Bloys would eventually serve.
He's playing the Game of Thrones.
And thus endeth story time. All right.
And this music.
So there we go. Story time.
I love that there's Scriptwood Village
Yeah.
on that map.
I am afraid somebody's going to now make a shirt called the Skanky Bum. Anyway, so the moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen, is that, yes, indeed, as you guys know, Paramount has won the bidding war to take over Warner Brothers, and they've said they want to keep all the executives, and one of the crown jewels of all that is Casey Bloys. Again, we went down just quickly, but let's look at this list again. ever since Casey Bloys took over as president of content, and now later promoted and given the title of CEO of HBO, he's been responsible for Succession, White Lotus, Last of Us, like all these major award winners.
Mm-hmm.
House of the Dragon, Chernobyl, Watchmen, Euphoria, Barry, which, by the way, Barry doesn't get talked about enough. That show's amazing. Mayor of Easttown was insanely good. Hacks keeps winning multiple Emmys every year. I mean, he's a prize to get. So the assumption has been that he's going to go over to Paramount as well. But there is a problem. The problem is that Vizier Holland, Cindy Holland, who was at Netflix and summarily, unceremoniously, I should say, kicked out, and she has an impressive resume. She's the head of all content, of all streaming content. She's the head of Paramount Plus. She's the head of Tubi, not Tubi. What's the other free streaming one they've got? It's not called Tubi. It's called,
Oh, man.
I'm forgetting the name of it, but she's in charge of all of that kind of stuff, which has raised, like you said, you mentioned Game of Thrones.
Pluto?
What's it? Pluto. That's what it was. Pluto TV. So she's the head of Pluto TV and Paramount Plus, all streaming. So there's a Game of Thrones Succession kind of game being played now because, number one, it's been kind of well known and stated in the trades that Casey Bloys does not have the same philosophies as David Ellison does. And there's speculation right from day one that he wasn't going to want to work for David Ellison. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's been the speculation. And so, and his contract, Casey Bloys' contract ends in 2027, next year. So he's going to be a free agent. And so the question has been, if he does go over to Paramount, is he going to be the new Vizier? Is he going to be the head of all streaming? And then Cindy Holland reports to him? Or is Cindy Holland already firmly established there? Because you know what? At Warner Brothers, he's got one boss. That's it. David Zaslav, period. He only answers to the CEO of the whole company. If he goes over to Paramount, there may be a situation where his former competitor, Cindy Holland, becomes his boss. Maybe he doesn't want that. But that also brings up kind of the same situation over at Netflix, because while Cindy is no longer in the picture, Bella Bajari is still there. She's what is her, the chief content officer, I believe that's her title. She's in charge of all content.
She can be in charge of anything. I
Okay,
think.
Rob, let's
Easy.
stay on topic.
Take it easy. She's the head of all content. And so if he goes over there, does he take over the job? Now, this is all because, this report here, CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, was spotted having lunch, not at the brothel known as the Skanky Bum, but at a restaurant, I believe it's called Superba or something like that. Anyway, high-profile place in LA.
By the way, that was by choice.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh.
We'll get to that. It's a high-profile place. And Netflix has acknowledged that the two of them, Casey Bloys and Netflix head Ted Sarandos, did just have lunch there. Now, listen, the only reason you have lunch there, I'm sure it's a very good place, but is if you want to be spotted.
Right.
If they didn't want to be spotted, Bloys would have gone to the Netflix lot and had lunch. If they wanted to go somewhere, they would have gone to some little hole-in-the-wall restaurant in Glendale or something.
Skanky Bum.
Maybe the Skanky Bum.
Yeah.
Not a lot of paparazzi hanging
Good
out
fries
there.
there.
So they very intentionally went and had lunch, where they very intentionally were going to be seen.
It was like an entourage move.
It very much is an entourage move. So again, does something like that mean that he would bump out Bajaria, which, I mean, he's bumped out their VPs before, because remember, Cindy Holland and Bella Bajaria, they were both co-vice presidents. They were both, neither one of them answered to each other. They both only answered to Ted, and they were both creating their own stuff. But could he be replacing Bella? Because I don't see Casey Bloys wanting to go to either of those places to be given another boss.
No.
I just don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know. Again, major Game of Thrones vibes, major Succession vibes here. This episode is brought to you by Pocket Hose, the world's #1 expandable hose. Guys, I got to tell you, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is absolutely fantastic. First of all, if you've ever dealt with one of those old school hoses, you know exactly how annoying they are. They kink, they crease up at the spigot, and half the times it feels like you're fighting the hose more than actually watering anything. But the Pocket Hose Copperhead has this pocket pivot that swivels 360 degrees so you get full water flow and way more freedom to move around your home and yard with ease. And here's the part I really love. When you're done, it shrinks right back down to pocket size, which makes it ridiculously easy to carry, handle, and store. And after trying the Pocket Hose, I am never going back. I even now pack it with me and bring it in my camper van. It's that versatile and that good. Plus, it's backed with a 10-year warranty, which is awesome. So for a limited time, my listeners and viewers get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size of Copperhead hose. Just text Campea to 64,000. That's Campea to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Campea to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Rob, you know, I have not thought, I don't think James Gunn or Casey Bloys are going to stay at Paramount / Warner Brothers after their 2027 contracts run. I think they're both out. Paramount's already made it public. They want to keep both of them. I don't, you know, Netflix's thing was, yes, Ted and Casey Bloys had lunch. It was just 2 friends catching up. Sure.
Could happen.
It's possible. And if you believe that, good for you. Anyway, Rob, you heard the tale of the 3 kingdoms.
It was a well-told tale, I have to say.
What do you think's going to be happening here with Casey Bloys, head of HBO?
Kudos to the Bard. I would say, look, Casey Bloys is certainly his own man, you know, and HBO is still the Tiffany standard of all of these streaming series, I think, or streaming. What would you kingdoms? Streaming kingdoms. Yeah. But it wouldn't surprise me to see somebody like him go over to Netflix. I think the real problem here is that, you know, what is Paramount going to do to Warner? Paramount hasn't even shown what it's going to do with Paramount. And now it's going to take over. Yeah. It's going to take over a studio that aces Paramount on every level. There's no, it's like a minor league team taking over a major league team. Yeah. And they're going to go in there and they're going to what? They're going to manage their minor league. The minor league team's going to show up and manage it like it's a major league.
So it's going to be the Colorado Rockies.
God, Rob, Paramount gave us Starfleet Academy.
And where's that? Bye-bye. Thank God. But but that's a real issue. I mean, you know, Warner Brothers is cooking with fire, and Paramount doesn't even know what recipes they're going to use, and that's a hard thing to deal with. And I just feel that you know, all I'm interested in, John, is great entertainment. Where am I going to get my great entertainment from? That's it. Give me great shows and give me great movies. And Warner Brothers showed in the last year, and with their current ongoing slate of films, might they have a miss like The Bride? Sure. But you know what? That was a swing and a miss. But that was a big swing.
Yeah. It was a creative swing.
It was a creative swing, and you can't look at a movie like The Bride and go, well, that was half-assed. You know, you let Maggie Gyllenhaal embrace, and everybody worked hard on that movie and tried to make something really, really special. Mm-hmm. But, you know, 1 out of 8 hits or 1 miss out of 8 is pretty good. Yeah. If studios kept that up, that's a pretty great batting average. So, you know, I want to see where Warner Brothers is going to continue to go. And they've got some really interesting stuff coming out for the rest of the year. Dune 3. We got Supergirl coming, which I'm not writing Supergirl off.
No, I think it's going to be really good.
I think it's going to be really good, too. And so they've got more great stuff coming down the pike. All of this Game of Thrones stuff it's all court intrigue and all of that, and I get it. But all I want to know is where are the best people going to wind up to make the best programming. And the funny thing is Warner Brothers, it's unfortunate that Warner Brothers already has all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And now Paramount's going to come in and wreck it all. And good for you guys. Well done, folks. Let's see what you're going to do. I just look at this and I go, I dread the whole thing.
But I mean, like, in David Ellison's defense, which are words you don't hear me say often, but in David Ellison's defense, it's one thing to have the plan. Like, if his plan was, look, and apparently this was the plan, we want to keep James Gunn and Peter Safran, we want to keep Casey Bloys. Sure. We want to have we are going to have these riches of talented people all under one roof with the talent that we already have. And listen, there are some very talented people over at Paramount. I know some of the execs at Paramount. And so do you, as a matter of fact. So the idea is interesting. Like, I still think figure out how to run Paramount first, then worry about taking over the company. But I can applaud and appreciate grandeur. I can applaud and appreciate that. The problem becomes when you don't calculate what may or may not be realistic with your plan. Because the plan is great, but if James Gunn splits, your DC is ruined. If Casey Bloys splits, well, there goes the creative heart and soul of HBO, at least for the last 10 years. And so it becomes more and more shaky. Now, maybe he thinks, no big deal. Like, maybe he thinks, okay, if Casey splits, I got plan B. I've got Cindy Holland, who showed at Netflix she could do a pretty damn good job. So maybe he's thinking plan B is fine. I mean, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. My guess is by the end of 2027, we're going to be talking about Casey Bloys, new chief content officer of Netflix. That's my guess. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? A lot of intrigue, a lot of stuff going on. How do you think it's all going to shake out? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.